Hello one and all! This is my review, reaction, and content discussion of Arifureta Season 3, Episode 6. And last episode ended us in a fairly strange place as we got a scene of Hajime in bed with both eyes, both arms, and Yui by his side coming to wake him up. Which is, strange for a lot of reasons. I saw some anime only people are like, oh my god, this is it, they're showing us the flash forward, they're showing us how the series is gonna end, which, no, god freaking Christ, no, what's wrong with you people? They just went into a labyrinth. We've already seen Labyrinth show people illusions in the past. Clearly this is an illusion. But for light novel readers, this is weird because this happened out of order. Basically, this labyrinth, if I remember correctly, has 4 stages to it, and the illusion, the whole Japan thing, should have been stage 2, but yet we still haven't seen stage 1 yet, so I don't know what's going to happen this episode. I mean, they could just fully end up skipping stage 1. Don't get me wrong, I really love stage 1. I think it does a lot to establish Koki's character and Hajime's relationship with Yui, but at the same time, stage 2 is a lot of fun, and while it's not particularly long in a light novel, just like, I don't know, maybe 20 pages, they could really, really expand that out to a full episode of Hajime, Yui, and the rest of them all just having wacky, wild fun in Japan. I'd love that. I would absolutely freaking love that. Unlikely though. I think what's more likely is they'll start stage 2 and then flash back to stage 1, or stage 1 will happen after stage 2, or something like that. I'm not sure. But anyway, though, the stranger thing is that we're apparently starting off in the Highlight Kingdom and are going to focus on Aiko-sensei and the classmates, which is rather strange considering, I mean, yes, this scene happened in the light novel around this point, but at the same time, the anime, for the most part, has kind of skipped over the classmate stuff, seeing them as inconsequential, unimportant, all that. Which is really a shame because some of those classmates are amazing. Seriously, I could do a 20-minute rant about why Endo is as great as Hajime. I kid you not, that man is freaking awesome and I love him. But, alright, so I guess we're going to start off with the Kingdom. I can't imagine we're going to get the full scene light novel, but even just like a quick, check-in on the rest of them and seeing how they're doing. That's great. I really appreciate that. But let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is already skipping a lot. Basically, Yuka and Aiko started the scene both utterly and completely exhausted because they're busy dealing with, the whole cleanup. A lot of people died when, the demons invaded, and so the Pope, yes, the literal freaking Pope, basically went to Yuka and said, hey, come entertain the orphans! And she ended up having to juggle 100 knives at once. She actually ran out of knives and people just started throwing them at her so she could juggle them. Seriously, Yuka right here, absolutely amazing girl. I love her. And then she ran into Aiko-sensei, and then Aiko basically fully admitted that she was in love with Hajime. I mean, she didn't say the words, but it was really, really obvious, and Yuka had to slap her twice just to get her to calm down and start thinking rationally again. Oh, Aiko has it bad for that man, who is also her 17-year-old student, so yeah, that's actually really creepy now I think about it. Oh well. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I love it. Alright, so 2 important things here. Mainly thing is that Hajime, one of the new things created with spatial magic is, I forget what he termed it, basically spatial save point. If he goes to a place, he can mark it as being saved, and once he does that, he can open a portal to it, basically allowing him to open a portal to anywhere in the world that he has been to previously. An incredibly useful skill, which he just used to throw the freaking goddamn princess through a portal. I do find this funny because last episode, that's when he was supposed to throw her through the portal, but he said, no, wait, I need to negotiate with these elders for the future of the relationship between our kingdoms. And then he didn't, but now he did it. Amazing. Oh god, poor Lily. Oh god, poor Lily. Also, it's funny in the, again, light novel, she said, I wish you just he actually says, I don't care if you don't treat me like a princess, but at least treat me like a girl. And the funny thing is, he actually did treat her like a girl here, because he threw her, and then he threw her maid, and then he threw her guard knights, but he was much less gentle when he threw the guard knights. So he was being kind of nice to her, because he threw her gently through the portal. With that being said, when he threw the guard knights, he didn't really give Lily a time to move, so they all landed, exactly on top of her, and almost crushed her. Hajime is brutal. Hajime is overwhelmingly brutal. That said, Lily can bounce back fairly quickly. I mean, she was literally thrown away. Now she's like, oh, it's all my friends. How are you? Amazing. Oh yeah, she also has it bad. This princess also has it bad for Hajime. Yeah, it's absolutely. Lily wants him. And the funny thing is, the kingdom also wants her to want him. Because if she can marry Hajime, then she'll become queen, he'll become king, and they will have the most prosperous, wonderful kingdom in the entire world. They will have technology that rivals every other nation, that surpasses every other nation by centuries or even millennia. I mean, he did save her from being assaulted, and then they shared a really nice dance. Also, importantly, Lily, I've said this before, but Lily is the ultimate princess. She is prim, she's proper. She can hide her emotions better than anyone else on the planet. And yet, when it comes to Hajime, she is an absolute open book. All of her training literally gets thrown out the window, or is thrown at the portal. Here we go. Okay, Lily's actually gonna say it. Thank God above is gonna be fun. Oh, this girl, this princess is screaming this in the middle of a cafeteria. Amazing. In fact, she's actually way more direct in the light novel, saying he didn't even seem the least bit interested in me, even after seeing me in my half-ripped underwear. Holy Mother of God above. Turned on a dime. Immediately turned on a dime and is back to being in love with him. Love this girl. Yeah, these two are really, really ticked off. Hajime has managed to win over another woman, again, without even trying, because, yeah, both these girls are madly in love with him. I mean, Yuka, a little bit less so. I'd say what she has is more of a crush than outright in love, but Aiko absolutely wants that man, who, again, is her 17-year-old student. Wait, let me look it up. How old is Aiko? Okay. Oh, 25? She is 25! Oh, actually, no. She is 26 as of this volume. Holy Mother of God above. I thought like 22 or 23, but no. This is a 26-year-old teacher in love with a student who's almost a decade younger than her. Oh, this is so absolutely wrong. Oh, seriously, she's losing it, and these two are just fully focused on Hajime winning her over, and Hajime winning her heart. Just the shade, the absolute shade in their eyes. Fantastic. Anyway, though, then after this, Lily does pretty much the same thing in front of her mother and all the ministers of the kingdom, and they're amused by her being in love with Hajime, except for her brother, who is the prince and future king, who is in love with Calvary, who says, that insolent commoner, not only has he taken Coward from me, but he's stolen my sister's heart as well. I'll get you for this. Oh, that little prince is hilarious. Alright, so still using the same opening. I guess we're going to stick with it, but I don't know. Like I said, the opening is really focused on the, Holly tribe and all that. It doesn't really feel like that's appropriate for the rest of this season. Alright, here we are, the actual Labyrinth. Guidepost of a well-forged bond. Light novel says, beacons woven from bond, which actually has a lot of different meanings to it. I mean, for one thing, actually getting the power of restoration magic requires them to first clear the volcano labyrinth and then use the relic inside of that as a beacon, as a light that guides them to the underworld labyrinth where they get restoration magic. But of course also means, well-forged bonds means they needed the help of the Beastmen tribes to get to this point. And also has a third meaning, which we'll see as we actually get into this labyrinth. So for the record, the tree coming to life like this is such a beautiful scene in a light novel that even Hajime is described as being in awe of it. A little less impressive than the anime, I gotta say. Oh, okay, so it looks like we are getting Phase 1 and not just skipping right to Phase 2. I guess it makes sense. That does make the, little flash forward at the end of last episode a bit strange, but I don't know, I guess it makes sense. Though I don't know why Hajime is alone. Hajime should not be alone at this part of the story. Oh, no, everyone's there. They're just out of focus. Honestly, I'm not liking this episode's animation quality so far. It does feel a little bit cheap, like the big tree getting revived should have been this beautiful giant spectacle, and yet it just wasn't. It was just basically like, oh, it changed, alright, moving on. And here, I mean, if Hajime alone when he really shouldn't have been, it feels like, I mean, seriously, like, the other guys, they're under this tree right here. We can see that tree, see that giant root right here, and yet we don't see them, so I don't know, it feels like they should have drawn everyone else in here, but they just didn't have the time or budget to do so. Seriously, Koki. Alright, I'll take points. I'm the leader here, even though you have way more experience in a labyrinth than I do, and could kill me 1,000 times over before I could even lift a finger. Clearly, I'm in charge in this situation. I mean, it does make a certain level of sense, because a big thing here is that the reason why Hajime even bothered bringing these people here is because they figured, okay, if they can pass trials, if they can get ancient magic for themselves, then that'll let, them basically serve as, that'll basically let me use them as meat shields when Noint and the other angels come back down the road at some point. So yeah, it is important for Koki to actually do stuff in this labyrinth, and Hajime is more than willing to be a bit accommodating to them because of that, because he is planning on using them for his own purposes. Also, somebody's mowing grass outside, so apologies if you can pick that up on the microphone. Holy mother! I love that. I love how just absolutely sudden that was. He didn't even move. He just fired it. Like, seriously, just... Yep, he threw it just that fast. Amazing. Yeah, Jesus Christ above. I actually want to look up reaction videos for this episode right now, because I am very curious how anime onlys are reacting to Hajime pointing a gun at his beloved. Yeah, right there. It's actually really interesting because in the manual it actually says he's going to shoot her in the head, but then he couldn't because he was worried that there was a slim chance that he was wrong, that it was the real Yui, and he couldn't ever risk actually killing Yui. Even Hajime faltered a bit here. Also, I mean, that kind of looks like blood here. I think it said in light novel it was like some silver sludge or something instead of actually looking like blood. Jesus God above! That headshot! Oh my lord! Yeah, that looks like blood. That honestly looks like blood. Light novel is described as being much less blood-like. Like, at this point, there was no indication this might have actually been the real Yui whatsoever. It's freaking Yui. Of course he noticed. Yeah, right there. Right freaking there. Hajime knows Yui better than anyone else in the world. Of course he'd recognize if she was replaced by a fake. Of course, Koki and Shizuku didn't realize that their friend Ryu had been replaced by a fake, and nobody realized that Tio had been replaced by a fake. So it's only, Yui that is truly special to Hajime. I love it. I love the shocked expression on their faces right now. Oh, that's amazing. Actually, they skip an interesting line right here. Basically, she and Kaori ask, "Oh, Hajime, could you tell at a glance that it wasn't us, that we had been replaced by fakes?" And Hajime said no, and Koki got mad at him for not having any tact. But the funny thing is, Hajime did have tact in that moment, because he realized, in his heart of heart, okay, I could tell she apart. I could tell if she was replaced by a fake, but not Kaori. And he decided, okay, I could say that, and it'd make she happy, but it'd make Kaori miserable for the rest of the Labyrinth, and it's just not worth it. So yes, he did have some tact in that scene. Also, for the record, for the other two, Ryu and Tio, he could tell they were fakes using his demon eye. He examined them and was like, okay, yeah, that thing is in no way human, so clearly it's a fake. Clearly, I should shoot it. Oh, I'm very excited to see how they create these monstrosities. Holy mother! Yeah, that's... Not gonna lie, that is very close to how they describe it in the light novel. 100-legged bees with spider mouths and 7 eyes. I mean, this isn't the most, well-animated creature. I'm definitely seeing a drop in the budget with this episode, but still, the design for it is monstrous and unsettling, and I hate how much I love it. No, I love how much I hate it. That's the one. Yeah, seriously, Suzu, her job is creating barriers, but she's so freaked out by the sight of these monstrosities that she just can't do it. Oh, God. Ooh, love that. Yeah, Kaori is definitely getting better at, controlling Noin's body, and the whole, wings, feathers that are actually deadly, deadly weapons that, honestly, I don't even think should have cut these guys. I think they should have just, evaporated them. The feathers are coated with disintegration magic, and nothing can really survive being hit by that. I'm pretty sure these bees should have just been, wiped from existence as soon as they hit them. Yeah, so the record, Koki and the rest of them were supposed to do this fight by themselves, but Hajime ended up having to save Koki twice, because, yeah, he just is not at the level where he can actually handle monsters like this, especially not in numbers this massive. Jesus Christ, God above. Okay, again, the animation quality of this episode, not great. Monster design, spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. Especially considering what this thing actually is. Oh my God. Okay, round of applause for the animators for making this just so absolutely perfect. Oh, actually, before I get into that, there is a really interesting discussion they skipped over where Hajime says he's not actually going to eat the bugs because they're so weak, he probably won't get any new magic from them. And this is where the rest of the classmates learn that Hajime, part of the reason why he's so powerful, is from eating monster meat and having it destroy his body and rebuild it over and over again. And right now, in this moment, Koki's like, okay, you know what? I struggle against the bees, but this is a goblin. I can handle a freaking goblin with ease. Kick. Hajime actually said kick. Gotta watch that again. Beautiful. Absolutely freaking beautiful. I think he even says kick in English, too. Also, for the record, he hit Koki with the force of a semi-truck, and there's some real concern from the classmates over whether or not he survived that. Oh, actually, that's another scene they skipped. Basically, at a certain point, they'd come across monsters like the slime rust monsters before, who were imitating Yui, but making her look like heavily torn up and her clothes ripped. And Hajime was so enraged. Well, first off, he poked Koki in the eyes because no man can live after seeing Yui naked, but he didn't want to, kill Koki, so he blinded him. And then he proceeded to unleash hell upon the forest, burning a significant chunk of it to the ground as he repeatedly fired rocket after rocket at those monsters. But you know what? They deserved it. Jesus Christ. Seriously, round of applause for making this monster so awful. Hajime-san? Hajime is making, is looking with absolute love and care and just so much passion at this ugly, ugly monstrosity. Beautiful. Seriously, this might be the highlight of the season for me right now. Fantastic. Yeah, even given how much that Shia loves Yui, she really can't see Yui inside this monster. Only Hajime can, because she is truly, truly special to him. Yeah, not only can Hajime recognize her as Yui, he can also have a full freaking conversation with her, even though she's just making grunting sounds. God, that goblin is so fat, too. Seriously, I could not design an uglier monster if I tried. Well, that's that. Hajime you just did the strangest thing you've ever done in the entire history of this series, and you're like, alright, let's move on. It's fantastic. Yes, of course these three are going to have questions. Meanwhile, Shia and Kaori are like, alright, it's Hajime. I guess this makes sense for him and Yui. Again. Oh, this episode is better than I ever thought it could be. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, that's a communication device, and now they can actually hear Yui and actually believe that this monstrous, horrible crime against nature is her. Yay! This goblin is blushing. This goblin is blushing, for God's sake. Fantastic. Oh, the shade. Like now she says, I'm sorry Hajime loves me more than you, even when I look like this. Oh, that's Yui. That is 150% Yui right there. Now it's Tio's time. Again, ugliest goblin designs in the world. Yeah, no doubt, absolutely no doubt that is Tio, 100%, as no other creature on God's green earth could be so happy about being being. Yeah, so for the record, they actually just kind of left Tio alone after that. They tried to leave her alone, like, alright, you know what, she's too far gone, and they walk away and she has to chase after them. Alright, and we're also skipping, is this Ryo being recruited or is the mid-boss fight? I'm not actually sure. Alright, so yeah, so that's Ryo right there. They realized it was him because he was trying to fight they saw him trying to fight another ogre with karate, and they're like, yeah, that's something only Ryo would do, the big idiot. Yeah, that's the other thing. Right now, Koki and the rest of them are trying to face off against Treant, the mid-boss of this stage of the trial. And, that's because, again, like I said before, they need to contribute. If they don't contribute, if they're carried through the labyrinth, then they don't get the ancient magic. And yet, as Tio's pointing out right here, the trial of this labyrinth isn't, actually fighting. It's not being able to defeat strong opponents. It's being able to see your allies, to test your bonds with them and overcome that. So as long as they keep doing that, they will probably still get the ancient magic, even if Hajime wins all the fights for them. Yeah, I mean, while Tio may be a pervert, she's also lived for 500 years and is probably the smartest of the entire group. So when she says something, it's a good idea to listen, unless that thing is perverted. Yeah, again, the stone slab at the front, a beacon woven of friendship that refer to getting the ancient magic, that refer to getting the beastmen's help to get this far, and that referred to the actual bonds being tested inside this labyrinth. A lot of different meanings right there. Yeah, for the record, that was, what was it, napalm or something? It was flame rock, I think. It burns at 3,000 degrees Celsius. So that's all it took for Hajime to actually beat this labyrinth, to beat this boss that the other three idiots couldn't even, basically scratch. In fact, it was a really important scene in the light novel, which I'm a bit disappointed they didn't show. But basically, Koki used his strongest attack, the trump card of the hero, legendary flash, whatever it is, I can't remember the exact name for it, and it didn't work. And this left him just utterly and completely stunned, because it made him realize, okay, maybe Hajime actually is stronger than me. Maybe it's not just the ancient magic, maybe he is actually more powerful than I am. And then he realized the monster had blocked the attack, so he was like, oh no, I'm still the greatest, I'm still the strongest, I can still win any fight. This dude just blocked, that's totally unfair. Yes, Koki is that insane. Okay, so they definitely did a lot of speed running through the first stage of the labyrinth. I think some people might be confused about why there's an ogre with them, but I think they could probably understand, like, oh no, that's Ryotaro. I do wish they included some more of the scenes with Koki and his feelings of inferiority, because that will be important moving forward, but overall I am just glad we got this first stage. It's not super important, but it's still fun, and oh god, above, I loved Goblin Yui so much. God, and honestly, oh god, Ogre Ryu has a pretty good design for him too. Again, the animation quality of this episode, not great, but the monster designs are absolutely fantastic. And Hajime is holding Yui and Tio close to him in this moment because he figures, okay, there's a good chance we're going to get separated again, but these two, they have no equipment, they can't use their magic, they have nothing, they can't defend themselves. Holding on to them probably won't do anything, we might probably still get separated again, but if there's even a slight chance this is somewhat effective, I will hold on to these two with everything I have. I will hold on to them for dear freaking life. This is definitely a sign of affection, a sign of how much Hajime does care about both of them, and of course Tio has to be weird about it. But it is also a sign that, Hajime does actually care about Tio. Yes, she's a pervert, but she's a pervert who is very close to his heart. And of course these two grab on at the same time, because why freaking not? For the record, I actually love how this is described in a light novel. The alarm clock is a demon in his room that wouldn't let him sleep, but a demon who he had a decade worth of experience quelling and whose head he bashed in. It's fairly obvious he's back in Japan almost immediately, but at the same time, just the way it's described, the way it's like, oh, he's in an epic battle, is just so cool, and I really did enjoy that. That is the voice. That is Hajime's freaking goddamn mother. And I hope we see her in this episode because she and his father are two of the best characters in this series. They get almost no screen time, but they are two of the best characters in this series. If we don't see them in this next scene, I will rant about them afterwards. And also, we do see them in the scene, we'll rant about them. So I'm going to rant about them either way. I just want to see if we actually see them first. If you don't, I will assault you. God above. Yeah, that's light novel too. That is literally in the light novel. Hajime also says that Yui waking him up this way is one of the highlights of his day, as it's how she wakes him up every day, because she's living with him, because she was so madly in love with him that she convinced his parents to let her stay with them as part of like an exchange student program or something like that, a homestay program. Also, I love that in the light novel, the author actually like very clearly states like Hajime's eyes, Hajime's arms. It makes it clear that Hajime is whole again for the first time in a long time, which really just adds to the unsettling nature of all of this. Okay, so we aren't seeing Hajime's parents. Some of the rants about them. Hajime's father is a game designer, and his mother is a shoujo manga artist, and Hajime's worked with both of them so much that he has job offers lined up in the industry already, despite only being a high school student. And what's more, his parents are massive nerds. In fact, when his mother sees how in love Yui is with him, she worries that Hajime may have hypnotized her, whereas his father worries that he manifested his innate psychic powers to make his waifu real. I kid you not, they are absolute nerds. In fact, one of the absolute best side stories in this entire series is called something like seven tips for surviving if you ever get isekai'd. This is a list they made when they were in high school, long before the isekai craze, and yet it's still fairly relevant. They give it to Hajime, and then when he gets teleported to the world, he finds it on his phone. And it's like, okay, what's on this list? Make friends with the assassin, Endo, who is like seriously powerful, and very good advice. The person who's weakest is actually the strongest out of everyone, which is Hajime, and he was in fact the strongest of everyone. In fact, this entire series is called Arifureta, from weakest to world's strongest. Huzzah! And the last line, holy mother of God, about the last line, come home, do whatever you have to do, we won't judge you, just come home. God above, seriously. I mean, Hajime, he doesn't say it very often, but Hajime's biggest fear is that after everything he's done, after everyone he's killed, after what a killer he has become, that he can't go back home, that his parents won't accept him. But they say outright in that list, no matter what you do, we will forgive you. It'll be okay. Just come home to us. I mean, I cried. I literally cried reading that, and so did Hajime. I mean, weirdly enough, he read that before he actually started killing people, but still, he read it, and it was just so touching, so amazing, and I loved it so much, and I love his parents so much. Oh, another fun story about his parents. At a parent-teacher conference, when Aiko said that she was worried about Hajime's future, his parents said, "Hey, Aiko, why don't you just marry him?" Leading to Aiko screaming down the hallways as they left, "Hajime, I can't marry you!" Love them. Absolutely freaking love them. Yeah, that's Hajime's like whole thing. He stays up late every single night. In fact, first chapter light novel, it's explained that his daily routine is basically staying up, playing video games, watching anime, working on manga stuff, working on game design stuff, till basically dawn, getting up, getting to school literally right as the bell rings, within seconds, falling asleep at his desk, waking up for lunch, falling asleep at his desk again, and then going back home and repeating the process again. And yet, despite that fact that he pays no attention in class, his grades are still average, like about 50%. So nobody can really complain about his behavior too much, except for everyone who's below him, who is actually trying and still doing worse than the dude who just sleeps through class. Amazing. Okay, so for the record, the reason in this story, the reason why Yui is so in love with him is because he saved her from a mugger at some point, and then she fell madly in love. Though when he starts thinking about that, he's a little bit confused. He's like, wait a minute, this happened in another country, right? But I don't recall ever being to another country, and I don't know And then as he's getting like more and more confused by the situation, Yui looks at him and says, "Fall into bliss. Look only at me." And now we have Chia, which her hugging him from behind is another one of the joys in his life. And she is also in love with him because he saved her entire family from a group of muggers. Though, again, he's wondering to himself, wait a second, well, why was I able to take down a group of muggers? Where was this muggers? What's going on here? He's starting to see holes in the logic and, storyline of this world that's been created. And one of those big holes is the fact that Chia does not have bunny ears. Instead, she has a hairband, which is wrong. It is very, very wrong in a deep way that bothers Hajime so much. Yeah, seriously. Yui, no matter what the world, no matter what the situation, is always crazy jealous. Dude, it's more than two girls, and you know it. Yeah, here we go. Now we're starting to see the flaws. Now we're starting to see, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. How exactly did this situation come about? Yeah, the hairband. Shia's hairband, which it should not be a hairband. It's supposed to be bunny ears, and that's such a deeply ingrained part of her character that Hajime looks at her and can immediately tell something is very, very wrong right here. Yeah, class, late, teacher, those are all very ordinary words that people say all the time, and yet they're not words that Hajime is used to hearing, especially from Shia and Yui. They are not his fellow students. They have never been to class a day in their lives. They don't know the teachers. There's something fundamentally wrong here, and Hajime can feel it, even if he can't quite put his finger on it. Yeah, going to class feels nostalgic because he has not been to class in, 6 months to a year at this point? It has been a very long time for him. For the record, it's not just Kaori, it's everyone. He did the same thing to Yui and Chia. As he's starting to see the holes in this world, he's lost in thought again and again. He's not actually hearing what they're saying. And they're trying to, bring him deeper into delusion, make sure that he believes it, to make sure that he doesn't question what's happening around him. Wow. Okay. Tio Sensei. That is an outfit I feel like she should be fired for wearing. I almost feel she should be arrested for wearing it, but yeah. So in this world, Tio is his teacher, and she spends every single day flirting with him all throughout class because of freaking course she does. Yeah, she should be fired. She should be immediately freaking fired. Oh, sweet, merciful Miyu. Oh my god, she is precious. Oh god, she's adorable. Oof, that's a... Oh god, that's so freaking precious. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, though what he said about diving in being dangerous, that's an interesting line for people who read the light novel, seriously. Holy mother. Oh, precious, precious Miyu. Amazing. In fact, in the light novel, though, she actually calls him Papa at first. And he's like, no, stop calling me that. You already said it in front of the teachers, and now they're worried that I'm sleeping with your mother, which is a whole lot of troubling connotations, because, again, I am 17. And again, Hajime ignoring everyone, even Miyu, because he can feel something is wrong here. Right there, right freaking there. When danger is present, Hajime emitted this murderous glare and reached for his gun, but he doesn't have a gun. And as he's sitting here, he's like, why would I think I have a gun? Nobody in Japan has guns. That'd be insane. I've never even held a gun before. Amazing. Yeah, again, like one of the big things, one of the big issues that Hajime has with this world is the stuff that does actually make sense. Like, Shia being able to beat up like 5 dudes by herself. It's like, why would a high school student be able to beat up so many people so easily? And he's like, wait, no. Shia's strong. She is always strong. I know that about her, so that does make sense. But still, cracks are starting to form. Oh, she is so precious. I love her. Hajime, you are reaching for a gun because you are a murderer. You have killed literally thousands of people, if you include demons as people. If you don't, the number is probably closer to 100, 200, 300, 500, somewhere in there. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. God dang above. Again, important to mention, this is like, Hajime's house. Yui probably had to go by his parents dressed like that. Holy mother. Right there. Right freaking there. That is the promise Hajime made with Yui all the way back in the Abyss, all the way back in the Labyrinth. I'll protect you and you'll protect me. That is a vow that means more to him than his very life itself, his very soul. It is so fundamental to his being that he can never, ever forget it. Oh, now Hajime's mad. Now Hajime is very, very mad that he allowed himself to be tricked, that he allowed himself to forget something that was so fundamental to his very being. The blood spatter. Oh, that's a nice touch right there. Oh. Again, Hajime has hit Yui twice so far in this episode, while also looking lovingly at Goblin Yui. This is so strange. In fact, I'm actually miffed that they cut this out. Hajime asked Yui, the way he was able to really tell this is fake is, if I told you to abandon Kaori and Shia and Miyu and come with me, would you? And she said yes, which is something the real Yui would never say. While she does love Hajime more than the rest of them, she also cares so much about them and knows that they are so fundamental to Hajime's own happiness that she would never abandon them, especially Miyu. That line right there, just a puppet, actually has an interesting connotation because Hayama, the dude who, pushed Hajime, who fired Hajime, and knocked him into the abyss originally, he basically said, almost word for word, that he wanted to turn Kaori into a lifeless puppet, basically a sex slave with no free will or no thoughts of her own, because he didn't actually care about what she said or thought or anything. He literally only cared about her appearance. But Hajime is more than that. He cares about the people themselves and those that, he has deemed as being precious to him. He wants everything about them, not just, their appearance, not just a version of them that would make him happy, because that's not true happiness. Yeah, seriously. Oh god above, I love it. So really, all you need to do to pass this trial is basically just, reject the illusion. But Hajime, he is royally ticked off at this labyrinth and himself, so he's gonna literally destroy the illusion by overflowing it with mana. Fully unnecessary, but like I said, he is ticked. He broke the world. He absolutely broke the world. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you live in a world where everyone behaves exactly the way you want them to be, you will remain who you are for the rest of your life. You'll never change. You'll never grow. It's only by coming against people who are different, with their own perspectives, their own opinions, their own views, their own way of doing things, they're able to learn, they're able to grow, they're able to become the world's strongest. Hajime is who he is because of every one of them. Without Yui, he would have just been a soulless killing monster without a care about anything in the world. Without Shia, he wouldn't have learned to smile again. Without Miyu, he wouldn't have regained his heart. All of them played a role in making him the Hajime is today, and he's not going to give up on a single one of them because they are precious to him. Even pulling out Limit Break, seriously. Again, like I said, this is so far above and beyond what's needed to pass this trial, but Hajime ticked off, so freaking ticked off, and I love it. That is a lesson that Koki really, really needs to learn because he's never really worked all that hard for anything in his life. He's just, naturally talented, so everything comes easy for him, so, that's it, and he's been happy with that. Meanwhile, Hajime had to build himself up from literally nothing to become the monster abyss, to become the world's strongest, and that is the life that makes him the happiest. Yeah, okay, that's the end episode. Hajime was the first to wake up, but there's still Yui, Shia, Kaori, Shizuku, Suzu, Ryutaru, Tio, the rest of them. There's still the rest of them who need to overcome this trial for themselves. They need to be faced with an ideal fantasy world and manage to surpass it, manage to reject it, and instead embrace reality itself with all its flaws and issues and everything. I think this is a really great trial as a way of, making sure people realize that they shouldn't just accept whatever, accept the world as is. They need to fix it. They need to fight harder to make it better and better. All right, next episode, A Devilish Trial. Holy mother of God above, that's right. Okay, so for the record, if you thought this trial right here was mean or cruel or awful, wait till next week. Literally wait till next week and you'll see one of the most sadistic things I've ever seen in quite literally any series ever. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. And then that's stage 3. I guess we're all still going to see stage 4, the big ending to this labyrinth, which is also one of the most messed up things I've ever seen in any series ever. So a lot of messed up stuff. But all right, over this episode, the whole, Lily thing was a bit cut out, a bit cut down, but still it was fun seeing Yuka and Aiko Sensei just giving her so much shade as she just kept, pivoting between being mad at Hajime and being madly in love with Hajime. Oh, that was fantastic. Then we got the actual trial Labyrinth, and yeah, like I said, they cut out a lot with this trial, which just seriously... like I said, Hajime literally burned the forest down. He got so angry, he almost blinded Koki. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I wish we could have seen it, but still, this is a great way of emphasizing his bond with Yui, of showing that even at a glance, you could tell that she wasn't her, that she was a fake. And then after seeing a goblin, he was able to figure, okay, I know this is in fact actually Yui. He can recognize her immediately. Also loved, Koki just feeling so absolutely inferior as Hajime, managed to face off against these monsters with ease. Again, Light Novel did it better. Light Novel really emphasized just how much this is really starting to bother him, but, this is a good start at least. And then we had, I gotta play this kick again because, of course I do. He actually says kick. Beautiful. Oh, I could watch this for an hour, and I would not get sick of it. All right, then we had, Goblin Yui, who, again, I've said this many times before, but just, a round of applause for the creators of this episode, because while the animation wasn't fantastic, the designs were amazing and just so well done. I could not imagine a more disgusting and ugly-looking goblin than this. Like, this dude looks worse than the goblins in Goblin Slayer, and that is really saying something. And yet, despite that, Hajime was able to have this deeply passionate, emotional conversation with Yui, and just, God, she blushed. The goblin blushed, for God's sake. Oh, that was fantastic. Anyway, then we got Hajime back in Japan, both arms, both eyes, living his idealized life with Yui in her school uniform, who was living with him because, Of course she was. Shia without bunny ears, and just, yeah, it's funny that, I mean, this is Hajime's ideal world, so I understand why Tio would be in it, but the fact that Tio was still a pervert in this idealized world means that Hajime's ideal version of Tio is one who is in fact still a pervert, which says a lot about him, I just gotta say. And Miyu in her school uniform, just so precious. Before Hajime to realize, like, it's fake, and he broke it. He broke the entire world. He didn't need to do that to pass. He just needed to say, no, I reject this reality, but, like I said, very angry little boy right there. Oh, I loved it. But please link all down below, wishing the trials. Would you have been able to pass any of them? Could you have recognized that your friend was a fake? Could you recognize that a goblin was your friend? Could you have rejected your idealized perfect world? And who do you think is going to manage to pass this trial? And do you think anyone will fail? I mean, Yui is going to be in the same boat as Hajime, probably seeing a world with him. Shia, Kaori, Koki. Oh, Koki. Oh, I can already imagine what Koki's seeing. Honestly, I haven't actually read this part of Light Novel a bit, but just off the top of my head, I'm guessing he sees pretty much the exact world he was living in back in Japan. That was his idealized world, where he was always right and everyone else was always wrong, or either agreeing with him or they were wrong, basically. Oh, that's actually right. I meant to mention this as well. In the fight against the tree ant, there's a really interesting conversation where basically Shizuku suggests, that the rest of them, use their strength to hold back the monster while Koki charged up his big ultimate attack. And Koki wanted to disagree with that, but then he decided to do it, not because he believed in Shizuku's plan, but rather because he wanted to show that his bonds, his trust, was as good as Hajime's was with his teammates. Basically saying, like, oh, watch this, Hajime. I'll show you I can trust my teammates too, even though I don't actually trust them. Yeah, Koki sucks. Koki absolutely freaking sucks. Wish we could have seen more of that, but I did enjoy seeing him get kicked. Anyway, though, let me see what think of all this down below. But anyway, though, like I said, let me think of all this down below. And until next time, when we see the devilish trial, Holy Mother of God, peace!